Hey folks, and welcome to week number 4. This also begins Unit 2, the beginning of Essay 2. So this essay, we'll start talking about research here, but we're not actually going to be doing research, we're going to be analyzing research articles, okay? So things to do this week. Number 1, watch your week 4 video. Then we're going to get into the week 4 reading and research discussion. This is one of 2 or 3 discussions we're going to do over the course of the semester. Here, you'll find readings, okay? You can just hot link these and go ahead and read each of those. After you have read those 2 articles, I want you to write an annotation of each of them, okay? So both Swithers and Peters are going to write an article, an annotation of each. Then you're going to go here and get into research discussion and try to figure out why Swithers and Peters reach different conclusions, okay? Try to understand this, and as a group, I want you to have the conversation and come to a conclusion as a group, okay? So through discussion, I want you to come to a conclusion. That means you can't just come in, write a post, and leave, but this is really about carrying on a legitimate discussion, okay? Should be in a group of about 6. If you've got any issues with that, don't hesitate to let me know. And that takes us through number 2 here. Then we're going to get into essay 2, okay? So for essay 2 here, everything's down here. There's the assignment. We'll get in there in just a second. Here's a link to a brief article about studies showing that drinking is good for you were funded by Big Alcohol. Okay, so take a quick look at that. It's a very quick article to read. And you'll understand why we do it when we take a look at the Essay 2 assignment here. So Essay 1 focused on the idea that the first step of the information literacy process is to realize that what one finds on the internet, i.e. a popular news story, is likely of somewhat dubious authority. Okay, doesn't mean it's wrong, just means there's probably a better source for it. Often then, students will go into the databases to do a search. They will click the scholarly sources box in one search, and presume whatever information comes is fine. But often it's not. Scholarly studies are only good as the work that goes into them, and often different studies on the same subject end up coming to different conclusions. So, for Essay 2, I want you to find 2 scholarly articles that look at the same thing, okay? If you want to use one of your scholarly article from Essay 1, you can. They need to be scholarly articles. This is a big thing here. And same thing really means just that. They need to look at the same aspect of a topic, theoretically trying to answer the same question. In other words, if you have 2 articles that are on prostate cancer, let's say, that might not be good enough, right? If one looks at like how this treatment methodology might help prostate cancer, and the other one looks at the relationship between consuming coffee and getting prostate cancer, they are not looking at the same thing. Yes, they're both about prostate cancer, but they're not trying to answer the same question. The goal here is to try to identify whether or not, the goal here is to try to find 2 articles that are answering the same question. The articles that in step number 2 for this week that I just talked about are both about diet soda and whether or not it helps you lose weight and what effect it has there. They do look at some slightly different things, but they are both trying to figure out, like, is diet soda healthy for you and does it help you lose weight? Okay, so they're trying to answer the same question. So that's what I want you to look at. If you struggle with that, you can get in touch with our librarian this week, and he might be able to help you out as well. I'll put his contact info in here, okay? Once you've got those 2 articles, your goal is to figure out which one is better, or alternatively, how they differ. For example, how they reach the conclusions they reached, okay? So in order to do this, you'll need to consider the author's background, the journal in which it was published, statements or conflicts of interest that they make, and the study design, okay? A lot of the details about how to do this are in the upcoming weeks here, so don't freak out too much about this. That's Essay 2. What we're really trying to do is to look at 2 scholarly articles and say, okay, how did they get to the conclusions they got to, particularly if they disagree in some way. If they disagree, how on earth is it possible that when they're trying to answer the same question, they got different answers? Okay? There's a video here on looking for scholarly articles. Watch that. It'll give you a quick tutorial on how to use the databases, and I will put the intro video for our librarian. You can always contact him as well. I'll add that in here. And then I want you to write annotations of the 2 articles you've picked for Essay 2, okay? So you're going to write 2 annotations on these diet soda readings, carry on the discussion, go through the essay assignment, read this article briefly, and then find your 2 scholarly articles for essay 2 and write an annotation of each one. If you've got any questions along the way, don't hesitate to let me know. The only other thing I will note is once you get this done, go ahead and start looking at next week's work because it's a fair bit of stuff, and it'll give you sort of a head start if you start a little bit early. Okay? Let me know if you've got any questions. We'll talk to you soon.